for a living man. Oh, but there is one thing you're all forgetting. Will turn to night, and when you're dreaming, you will be seeing a little demon dancing around.
Welcome back to another chilling episode of Paranormal Salad, The Dressing. Tonight, we delve into a case that chills me to the core. A case involving a young, inexperienced paranormal investigator named Quinn Star. A woman driven by ambition, and perhaps by a dangerous obsession. You see, Quinn made a decision, a reckless one. She performed a solo exorcism, alone. And now, she's living a nightmare, far worse than she could have ever imagined. Her once promising career has been overshadowed by an entity that doesn't just haunt her, it controls her. A malevolent force that feeds on her fear and her very soul. What began as an innocent investigation has turned into something much darker, much more personal. Join me and Dr. Thorne as we analyze the depths of Quinn's tragic mistakes and the terrifying consequences that followed. Dr. Thorne, I can feel the weight of this case, but I want to start with a simple question. Why would someone so inexperienced even attempt such a thing? Was it overconfidence? Or was it something darker, something deeper?
Quinn's obsession with the occult has clouded her judgment, J.A.X. She's been consumed by it. Her fascination, her desperate need to understand the supernatural, to hold it in her hands. Well, it's been there since she was a child. I'm not sure if it's pure curiosity or a dangerous desire for power. But one thing is for sure. Whatever it is, it pushed her past the point of reason. She's been dabbling with forces that are beyond her comprehension, searching for answers in the darkest places. But when you summon that kind of energy, it doesn't just answer. It takes control.
Can you explain to our listeners, Dr. Thorne, just how dangerous it is to perform an exorcism alone? Why is this decision, this reckless attempt at one, so much worse than simply not having backup?
It's like walking into battle without any armor. You're exposed, completely vulnerable. With demonic forces, you're not just fighting an entity. You're engaging with something ancient, something that thrives on manipulation, on twisting your very mind. Alone, you have no protection, no backup, no one to pull you back when you're teetering on the edge. Demons. They're not just about physical strength. They get inside of you. They get into your head. They make you doubt your own senses. They warp your reality until you don't know what's real and what's not. They want you to lose yourself, to lose your mind, your thoughts, your very sense of self.
So you're saying that Quinn wasn't just out of her depths. She was a target. That she was a sitting duck, just waiting for something to latch onto her?
Yes, she was an easy target. This demon, this thing, it wasn't just using her. It's feeding off her fear, her doubt. It's playing with her mind, twisting her thoughts, pushing her into submission. It's shaping her into something else. A tool, a puppet. It's like a parasite getting deeper and deeper into her soul, her psyche. And once it's inside, once it's embedded itself so thoroughly, getting out, almost impossible.
How long does she have? How long before it's too late, before it's beyond saving?
She doesn't have much time. This demon, it doesn't just possess, it devours. It feeds until there's nothing left. And once it's taken full control, once it's rooted itself in her, there's no coming back. No exorcism, no prayer, no hope. She'll be lost, trapped, forever.
Drink a little water, feel a little better. You do what you gotta, babe. Bring life into your muscles, instinct for the living man. Oh, but there is one thing you're all forgetting. We'll turn tonight, and when you're dreaming, you will be seeing a little demon dancing around.
But that doesn't just happen overnight. No. This story begins long before Quinn's ill-fated exorcism. Her descent into darkness wasn't sudden. It goes way back, before she ever touched a spirit board or crossed the line into the forbidden. It started when she was around 10 or 11 years old, the same age most children start being afraid of the dark. But not Quinn. She wasn't afraid of the dark. She was drawn to it. You know, most kids at that age are afraid of monsters under the bed or things that go bump in the night. But Quinn, she was different. While others would huddle under blankets with flashlights to ward off the unknown, Quinn found herself seeking the unknown. It was like a magnet pulled her. She couldn't resist. She wasn't interested in toys or games. She spent hours alone in her room, drawn to dusty old books, ancient texts filled with arcane symbols and cryptic rituals. Grimoire after grimoire, each one older and more dangerous than the last. Her obsession wasn't just a curiosity. It was a thirst, a hunger. By the time Quinn reached her early teens, she was living in those books, not just reading them, memorizing them. The occult was no longer a mere interest. It was her world. She learned the names of demons, the properties of ancient relics, the secret language used to summon spirits. She didn't fear the darkness anymore. She embraced it. She sought to understand it, to control it. She wasn't like others who might have dabbled for fun. No. Quinn was relentless. She didn't stop when the stories grew darker, when the warnings piled up, when the text became more dangerous. She didn't shy away from the ritual blood rites or the summons of otherworldly beings. Instead, she pushed forward. She started performing small rituals, things that seemed harmless at first. Whispered in the dark, candles placed in precise patterns, circles of salt drawn with trembling hands, just the barest glimmer of power. But even the smallest act held consequences. The moment she crossed that line, the allure of power was too much to resist. At first, she didn't feel it, at least not the true weight of it. She felt exhilarated, powerful even. But that power, it starts small. A strange sense of control over the world around you, like the world is bending to your will. But that's the illusion.
That's the trap, J.A.X. The thrill of control. That moment when you believe you're steering the ship, when you think you've mastered something as ancient as the darkness itself. But what you don't see is a storm that's building beneath the surface. Once you tap into that power, it taps right back into you, and it never lets go.
Exactly. It wasn't long before Quinn began to realize that the power she'd been calling wasn't just her power, it was something else, something ancient, something that didn't answer to her at all. It was a darkness that had always been there, waiting for someone like Quinn to call it. And when she called, it answered. The more she engaged with the occult, the more the pull grew. At first, she told herself it was just an intellectual pursuit. She wanted knowledge to understand what others couldn't. But soon, it became more than just knowledge. It was control. The temptation to bend the world around her was irresistible. She thought she could master it. She thought she could command it.
That's when the real, true danger begins. The moment you start to believe you can control forces beyond your understanding. It's a gradual descent into madness, J.A.X. At first, it feels like power. Then it becomes a compulsion. And when that compulsion starts consuming you, well, you're already lost.
It wasn't just intellectual pursuit anymore. It was her obsession. Every ritual she performed, every incantation she uttered, it was a step deeper into the abyss. She didn't see it, not at first. To her, it was just a means to an end. She believed that with each step, she was gaining power, gaining control. But what she didn't realize was that with each step, she was becoming more vulnerable. The power she craved, it was never meant to be hers. What she didn't understand was that when you invite the darkness in, it doesn't just leave. It lingers. It waits. And once it's in your life, once it's latched onto your soul, it feeds. It grows stronger, pulling you deeper. It owns you.
And that's where Quinn made her fatal mistake. Once she crossed that threshold, once she invited a demon into her life, it wasn't just a matter of performing another ritual. It was a matter of survival. And demons, they're not interested in coexistence. They're interested in consumption.
I think that's a perfect time for a music break. After this music break, we'll be back with Charlie Coors as we delve deeper into some of his enchanting cases. Welcome back, listeners. This is J.A.X, and you're tuned in to the show where we explain the strange, the unexplained, and the downright unbelievable. In this segment, we're diving into the shadowy world of the Vatican intelligence with none other than Charlie Coors. He is a UAP researcher, abduction expert, former military intelligence officer, and someone with connections in some seriously high places. Or maybe I should say deep places.
All right, J.A.X. This one's for the books. Most people don't realize the Vatican has its own intelligence network. They're not just about saving souls. They've got boots on the ground in ways that would make James Bond blush. And one of their darkest, most tightly held secrets involves a mass possession case back in the late 1970s. They call it the Caso Umbra, or the Shadow Case.
The Shadow Case. Sounds like something straight out of a thriller. What happened?
It started in a small village in Italy, tucked away in the mountains. A young woman began showing signs of possession, speaking in ancient tongues, violent outbursts, and knowledge of secrets she couldn't possibly know. The local priests reached out to the Vatican, and they quickly realized this wasn't a standard exorcism. The case escalated, and they sent their elite exorcism team. These aren't just priests with crosses. They're highly trained specialists who have seen things that would make most people run for the hills. But this wasn't a normal possession. The entity, or entities, claimed to be a legion, hundreds, maybe thousands of demonic forces inhabiting one person. As the exorcism began, things spiraled out of control. Witnesses described the temperature in the church dropping to below zero, statues crying blood, and shadows moving on their own. The villagers came together to pray, but instead of breaking the possession, chaos broke out. People collapsed in the pews, screaming in agony. By the end, over 400 people were dead, and the girl, she turned to ash in front of them.
400 people? How do you ever cover something like that up?
You evacuate the village, seal off the church, and flood the entire area under a guise of a dam project. That's exactly what the Vatican did. Families of the deceased were silenced with payments, and the survivors were sworn to secrecy. The Vatican buried the entire event, but whispers about the shadow case leaked through. Some claim this was the largest mass possession in history, and the church's exorcists barely managed to contain it. Others think they didn't contain it at all. They just delayed the inevitable.
You're saying this wasn't an isolated incident?
That's the thing. There's evidence the Vatican's been fighting battles like this for centuries. The shadow case was a big one, but it's not the only one. It's like there's a war going on, one we can't see, and the Vatican is one of the few entities trying to keep it from spilling over into the world.
Charlie, this is a lot to unpack. I know our listeners are going to have a million questions, but I think we need to save the rest of this for another episode.
Well, that's probably a good call. This one's a rabbit hole, and trust me, it only gets darker the deeper you go.
All right, folks, we will definitely revisit this case. Charlie, as always, you've left us with a lot to think about. As we close this first chapter of Quinn's terrifying ordeal, I want to take a moment to think about what we've discussed tonight. Think about the darkness that Quinn has unleashed upon herself and the danger she now faces. This isn't just another ghost story. It's a reminder that the forces we tamper with don't play by the rules, that the occult is no playground, and that when we reach too far into the darkness, it has a way of reaching back. If you or someone you know is drawn to the occult, if you found yourself dabbling in things you can't quite understand, I urge you, don't wait. Don't follow the same path as Quinn. Seek the truth, but do so with caution. This is a world you don't want to step into alone. And that's why I have created a guidebook for everyone interested in exorcisms. Find J.A.X. Ember's Exorcism Guidebook, a guide to exorcisms in all cultures, on Amazon now, or here on our website, www.paranormalsalad.com. I'll say this. Quinn's case is far from over. In the next episode, we'll dive deeper into her possession, and we'll explore what might still be done to save her. But it won't be easy. Not for her, not for anyone. Stay vigilant, Stay aware and remember there are things out there waiting. They don't care who you are. They don't care what you've done. They only care about taking what they can and never letting go. Until next time, this is J.A.X. Ember, reminding you to stay safe, stay sane, and keep the lights on. Don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe. We'll be back next week with an entirely new episode.